So it seems like over the weekend, the internet was abuzz over what Obama has said, saying that aliens are real. I'm not going to play the clip because I'm sure you've seen it already, but I do have some thoughts that I want to share about it. You can see I have here his kind of walk back on his statement, which is kind of the main thing I want to talk about. But I do want to make this point, and this might just be my opinion, but honestly, that very short exchange about this topic during that interview, I don't know, it didn't really seem that interesting to me. It didn't really seem like that big of a deal. And I think he has said more interesting things in the past. And honestly, like if you take the whole UAP UFO subject, and you know how we use the term tip of the iceberg. Well, personally, I don't think that this is even the tip of the iceberg on this topic of interesting things. I think it's more like an ice shaving on the very tip of the iceberg. I always say this, that the mainstream media, they never cover the most interesting things. And it's interesting that because this kind of blew up out there, that mainstream media is finally kind of picking this up. I mean, it's not to say that they never talked about this in the past, but it seems like everybody's talking about this statement, and certainly people online are talking about it. So it's definitely getting out there in the public zeitgeist. People are finally, well, somewhat paying attention, because remember, this is like not even really getting someone's foot in the door on this topic. Like if you're just a casual person who hasn't really been paying attention, again, this is just like the icing flakes on the top of an iceberg. And because the casual audience is finally starting to talk about this, well, most people who are casual about this topic, they think that there's only one possibility, and if we're talking about aliens, we're talking about life from another planet or extraterrestrials. And what's very frustrating for someone like me, and if you're really into this topic, is that there's a lot more theories. There's a lot more possibilities, not just that. And I hope I don't come across as condescending or anything like that, but it is frustrating when so many people only think of it in terms of extraterrestrial, no other possibilities. I mean, that's certainly what the stigma has led us to. That's certainly what many years of like movies and just general discussion, and when the Pentagon or the government tries to deny it, it's always that term, extraterrestrials, which we need to pay attention to. Now, most of us have made this observation in the past, so a lot of us already knew about that, but I want to play something after I read Obama's kind of a walk-back statement that he made. So Obama says, "I was trying to stick with the spirit of the speed round, but since it's gotten attention, let me clarify. Statistically, the universe is so vast that the odds are good there's life out there, but the distances between solar systems are so great that the chances we've been visited by aliens is low, and I saw no evidence during my presidency that extraterrestrials had made contact with us." Really. Now, some people will say like, oh, maybe they got to him. They told him to make this walk back statement, whatever. I don't know about that. I mean, could be, maybe, I don't know. But I'm just going to focus on that statement about seeing no evidence of extraterrestrials. So I'm going to play a small clip of whistleblower Dylan Borland from the 2025 hearing on September 9th that everyone should seriously listen to. The entire thing. I'm stealing this clip from kind of a key moments video, which is still over an hour long. That's how many key moments there were. I think it's like a 2.5 hour hearing. By the way, this stuff was spoken under oath, so this is very important. Whistleblower Dylan Borland. Here you go.
They were real. The other person who said they were real is David Grush.
And then finally, Mr. Borland, when you engaged with AARO in 2023, you noted that their public statements did not match the reality that you and others had witnessed. In your assessment, what were the key limitations of AARO?
I would put it to you this way. The statement AARO has made is scientific evidence of extraterrestrials. Scientific evidence requires a scientific control. Extraterrestrial is an entity on another planet. The only way to scientifically prove extraterrestrial is we have to go to that planet, acquire technology, bring it back, and compare it to what we have here.
So you're saying they won't let anything out because, or they won't come forward unless they confirm that it unless they go to the planet and confirm where its origin is.
That would be scientific evidence, yes. And by that statement, Arrow found no scientific evidence of extraterrestrials is basically, I don't want to call it a psyop, but a misrepresentation, because we do have things. But making that statement is not technically a lie. It's a misrepresentation of the full truth.
So again, that was Dylan Borland at the 2025 hearing, and I highly recommend that people check out the entirety of that hearing, or just listen to Dylan Borland's part of it, and then also check out his Weaponized interview, the podcast Weaponized. It's, oh my gosh, you will learn a lot of things from that. And if I can throw in more, listen to Matthew Brown's interview on the Weaponized podcast. It's just stuff that you listen to this and it's like, how come nobody else, like none of your friends are talking about this? But stuff after you listen to it, it's like, man, I wish all my friends knew about this. But I digress. So anyway, guys, pay attention to when the government uses the word extraterrestrials. I know George Knapp, I don't think it was in the hearing, I think it was somewhere else, he said that it's very interesting. They never deny non-human intelligence, which, by the way, it's part of like the Defense Authorization Act or whatever it's called that they do every year, and they try to pass a bill for this topic. They use non-human intelligence. They did not use ET. But whenever the government tries to deny anything about this, they say extraterrestrials, and there's no evidence of it, which is confirming really what, Dylan Borland speaking about that. You can't scientifically do that unless you actually go there, according to him. So even if it is extraterrestrial, which I don't think it is, but even if it was, they still can deny that. But on top of that, people don't even realize that there are other theories. Okay, I'll tell you what I think. I think it's a combination of secret tech and something spiritual. And of course, you can deny extraterrestrial if that's what it is. That's not to say that they know that that's what it is, but it's a possibility. There's other theories out there too that people have about it. But aliens is not the only one. So does Obama know anything? Well, I think he's said other interesting things in the past. And for some reason, he's working on, I don't know if it's a documentary or like a live action retelling of a story of Betty and Barney Hill, which is one of the most famous abduction stories out there. I don't think that's out yet. I think they're still creating it. I'm not really sure. I haven't really paid much attention to that. But I don't know if it's a Netflix thing or something else. I think it's Netflix, but nevertheless, he is interested in the topic for whatever reason. But either somebody got to him, or maybe it's just him denying extraterrestrials. But hey, it could be other things as well. And even then, they can still technically get away with it. But just pay attention. Whenever they talk about it, pay attention to the use of the word extraterrestrial. Okay?